Hey, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about how code comments are important for yourself. All right, so every software developer knows about, or at least should know about, the importance of commenting code. So if you're not a software developer, basically code comments are a way that you can put little notes within your code that don't get processed by the processing engine or the compiler, and they're a way for you to just say, this is what this does, this is what that does, this is why I did this here, that kind of stuff. And that's actually very, very important in terms of developer communication. It's something we do when we handing off code to another developer. We may or may not do a big document as a developer, but we will usually comment the code a little bit to help out other developers and sometimes to help out ourselves. I mean, a lot of times when you're working on your own project and you're thinking, I know how this works, I don't need to comment this. There have been times in the past where I found code that I worked on in the past and I'd completely forgot that I've worked on it. There was this one place I was working there for about 3.5 years, and they called me, and a previous manager said, hey, Eric, you know that function or that bit of functionality you wrote for us that did such and such? We made a change to the system and that stopped working. Could you have a look at it? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, that wasn't me. I'm not the one who did that. And they said, no, we're pretty sure it was you. And I said, no, seriously, trust me, I would remember. I was like, it wasn't like I didn't remember writing the code. I didn't even remember working on that project, on that function. And they showed me the code, and my comments were all over it. It was so strange. It was like, if you've ever seen the movie Total Recall, either the new one or the old one, there's a bit where the main character sees a video of himself, saying, hey, I'm you, I fooled you this whole time or whatever. That's what it was like. It was like watching a me that didn't exist, looking at these code comments. And eventually it came back to me. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I did work on that. But those are the kind of situations especially when you're a junior developer, you're starting out, you're thinking, I'll remember how this works. I'll know how this works. When I was first starting out, probably, it was in my first tech job. I remember having a project manager who said, you need to you need to comment the code so well that I should be able to look at the code and figure out what it's doing without even knowing how the code works. I mean, really, the guy was a moron. That didn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense to me now. Like, I want to ask a surgeon to explain to me everything you're doing so a non-surgeon can understand it as you're doing it. But I do think it's important to comment your code so that another developer can see it, even if it's not going to be you. And I've known developers who actually say they don't comment their code because they don't want to be replaced. It's like job security for them, which is scary. It's scary to even think that. But it's just one of these. It's one of these things, and I find myself doing it now more for my future me who might forget what I was thinking there, or than for somebody else, because that future you is going to need it, especially if it's something a bit tricky. Like, to give you an example, if you're a non-coder, what you would do, you would say, okay, here I'm inserting it into the database. Here I'm retrieving the key because I'm going to need it later in this function to do the update or whatever, and just sort of walk through the steps of what you're doing. So, because it might not be readily apparent to somebody, even if somebody's a really good coder, they might think, I would have done it this other way, but you have to say, the reason I did it this way was because of such and such. So anyway, code comments are very important, but they're even more important for yourself. So let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you've ever had a situation like this, where you're looking at your own code and you just can't remember why it was done that way and the code comments helped you, or you wish that you had written the code comments. I've had a lot of situations like that myself too. Anyway, that is it for today. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.